What's up you guys, Sasha here. A few weeks ago I applied for the Monese, Anyway, I wanted to have one just so I could see exactly what it actually does and doesn't do and how it compares to some of the other similar products in the market. If you haven't seen it already, I've got a whole separate video where I would do a really interesting comparison of Monese with its biggest competitors. So I've got a review where I've got Monzo, Starling, Revolut, and Monese all in one. It's a little bit different to my usual reviews because I'm comparing multiple different products at the same time. So after you've watched this video, make sure you go and check that one out. I'll leave the description below and I'll also link it at the end of the video just to make it easy for you. So anyway, here is the card. I'm hoping there are some instructions inside of what I'm meant to do with it because it's been quite a while. Let's get it opened. Nice. I have stickers. Yeah. Not sure what you do with these stickers. Do you put this on your card? Do you put this on your wall? I mean, they're pretty big and round. Or is this like for your laptop? I mean, who knows? Stickers. A letter saying Monese. It says, say hello to your new card. Now activate your card. All right, so I need the app. I think I actually have the app. I haven't actually opened or used it. Now here's something I haven't seen before. This is very, very old school marketing. Inside this brochure that you get, there are these 4 little things. These things tear away. Look, they tear away like this. You have a little strip of them and you can tear them off from each other and you can give them to your friends. And here is what they say. They say, at Monese, we make it easy to receive your wages and send money to friends for free with contactless payments, automated savings, cash, top-ups, and smart budgeting tools. Welcome to the future of your finances. So I guess the objective is that you put these in your wallet and you give them to all your friends so that they can go and get it as well. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've seen an actual marketing campaign that has little tearaway pieces of paper. This is something that happened like 25 years ago when you would put an advert on a telegraph pole or something like that where people would tear off the number to dial. This is very old school. Interesting. For those who are a bit more tech, they do have social media. They have Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It doesn't tell you what they are, it just tells you a hashtag #mymonese, but you know, the icons are there, which makes it very, very cool and very, very tech. This glue is not good. So the card is pretty cool. It's vertical design, which is in fashion now. There's a few different people doing this, and I guess it's cool. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. And actually, most people don't have their cards in their wallets vertically. Most people will have them horizontally, like this. So when you're pulling it out of your wallet, you get this thing showing first, I guess. So you get the MasterCard sign showing when you're pulling out your wallet instead of the logo of the name of the company. I mean, I have a wallet where you stack them vertically, but most people don't. So why? I mean, I guess it's cool. So your card number, name, and the valid are printed on the back. Everything's kind of vertical in the back as well. Yeah, interesting. It says debit on it. Prepaid. I mean, that's what it is. It's a prepaid card. It's not a current account. It's not a credit card. So interesting. Let's go and open the app. Now, just before I get into the app, when I applied for the card, I actually made some notes so that I can mention them in this review because there's a few things that really, really bothered me when I made the application. Now, the first of these is the way that you have to type in your address. The system is very clumsy. It took me quite a while to actually go and input it, longer than the equivalent things do for other people. It was quite frustrating, quite annoying actually. And it was a little bit disconcerting. Now, I know this is not a bank account, and that's kind of like the biggest thing with this card. It is not a bank account, so your money's not protected. It's just a place you can deposit some money so that then you can make payments. But it didn't ask for my date of birth. It didn't ask for my bank account details. It asked for absolutely nothing to validate me in any way whatsoever. So it just makes you slightly concerned. What happens if some fraudster tries to access it? They literally have none of your personal information to try to protect you. If you're trying to speak to them, there's very limited stuff they can. I mean, I don't get it. I don't know why, if you're setting this up, you wouldn't ask for information. That would be quite standard in any sort of identity protection. But anyway, when you're setting the passcode on the app, you have to set it as a 5-digit number. There's no options for other lengths or like a range from 4 to 8 or some kind of other form of password. It's just 5 digits, that's what you have to do. It's pretty limiting. I don't really know why you have to do it like that. It seems pretty pointless. I guess it stops people from using their date of birth or some other date when their child was born or whatever it is as their passcode, but come on, I mean, make it a little bit more flexible. When I had to submit my driver's license as proof of identity, I had exactly the same problem as pretty much every single other card and bank account that I've tried with all these challenger banks, which is they all use the same provider for taking the photo and then verifying it, and that provider is called Fido. And when I was doing it, I was trying to take the picture on my table, I was trying to take it in the air, on a white background, on a dark background, with the light off, with the light on, with like literally closing the window, trying to keep the window open so the daylight comes in. None of it took me about 5 or 6 minutes, I think, to get the thing to actually recognize the driving license. It was really, really weird. It kept telling me there's glare when there's no lights. It was telling me there's too much glare when there were lights. I mean, maybe Fido should do something, or these guys should tell them this is a pretty rubbish experience. I've had much better experiences with old school banks doing something very similar. I don't really understand why this is better. Anyway, the last thing that really frustrated me with the application is this. When you open the app after you first applied, you have 2 options. You can say my card has arrived, and if you click that, it then asks you to go and type in the card details. So until the card has arrived, you can click my card has not arrived, and you can say report card not arrived, confirm or cancel. And you can't do anything with the app until your card has actually arrived, which is really odd because pretty much every single other provider out there allows you to actually make some payments, set up direct debits, do some kind of other amount of stuff before your cards arrive. With this, you can't do anything. And if you're getting one of the premium cards, you have to pay the monthly fee from the moment you approve, so that's quite frustrating. I actually went and paid the fee just so I can test a few more features on this, and because I like the blue color a lot more than the white color. So let's go ahead and activate the card, see how well this actually works. Boom, we are in. Okay, so now I've got an account which has £0. I can add money. Instant top up using a debit card, free. Bank transfer, free. Cash. How do you top up with cash? Post office, PayPoint. They're both free, and they're free because I'm paying the monthly fee. Request money from friends, receive salary, free. Okay, well, let's put £20 on the card, see how it works. So it says it's free. I need to add a debit card. So there's no option to do the whole photo thing for the debit card. You have to manually type in the details. So I have to type in the address, and again, there's just a lot of user issues here. I have to go and scroll all the way down to go and select the United Kingdom. Here we go. And then I have to manually type in the address. There's absolutely no help whatsoever. Just like with the application, it's quite frustrating. This really should be a lot better. The transaction was declined. Oh, I got a fraud notification from First Direct. That's nice. So I bank with First Direct. And First Direct obviously don't like Monese because when I tried to make the top up for £20, my First Direct bank account blocked the transaction, saying that they reckon it might be fraud. So I had to go and confirm that it wasn't fraud to my bank. So let's go and try to top up again. Attempt number 2. Ooh, it's gone through. I have £20. So when this card arrives, you don't actually get a separate letter which will tell you what your PIN is. The PIN can be viewed from the app, and what you do is you go and type in the last 3 digits on the back of the card, and it will tell you what the PIN is. You can't actually change it from this as far as I can see. Seems odd. I mean, it seems like a very basic thing that you should be able to do, but anyway. So if I lock the card, bang, I have locked the card now, and I can go and unlock it just the same. It's very quick and easy. Now when I first applied, you could actually try to go and set up the virtual card before your real card arrived, and before you leave a comment telling me that, when you try to do that, it tells you that you can only do it if you're physically present at your address. Now I was physically in my house when I was trying to do it. I tried to walk around to different parts of the house, walk just outside the front of my house, and it was telling me that I was about 200 meters away, and therefore I could not access it. I was trying to use Wi-Fi and then turned off Wi-Fi and was using the masts. Regardless, their app was telling me that I'm not actually at the property, and therefore I couldn't activate it. So this is a massive oversight. They're using some very poor technology to try to determine if you're at the address that you've put down. And if that crap technology determines that you are not at your address, there's nothing you can do. You can't use the card, you have to wait until it arrives. Now, to be fair, it did arrive reasonably quickly, not quite as quickly as Starling or Monzo, but I did apply on Thursday somewhere around lunchtime and it turned up on the Monday. So that's pretty quick. That's like 3 working days from when I applied. I mean, that's pretty reasonable. I've just taken 10 minutes to go and look through the app, go and check out the different features, check out the features that I like, check out what it does, what it doesn't do, trying to compare it to some of the other ones. And while I was doing that, the monthly account fee has come out from the £20 that I just deposited. So I put £20 into the account, and the moment the money was there, they've gone and taken their £5.95 for the privilege. That seems slightly off. I haven't done anything with the card. I haven't made a single payment. I haven't actually done absolutely anything other than activate my card. And the moment I have, another $5.95 has come out. Now, I do know it's my fault for not using the card, and I do know it's my fault for waiting this amount of time. But essentially now I've paid 2 monthly fees without having done absolutely anything with the card. That seems slightly off. So if you say take a little longer to activate your card or whatever, they are going to go and take that money the moment you deposit anything in that account. Now let's go and cover the features, and on the features, this thing is actually very, very thin. Now what I mean by that is it tries to mimic some of the things that some of the other challenger banks and other bank accounts do, but not in a very good way. So for example, I can go and pay people, and what I've done is I've gone and added my contacts, and out of a very large contact book, I've got 2 people that I can potentially send money to. When I was using the same feature on Monzo, the list was pretty big, so there's quite a large number of people that I could have selected. And if you want to pay somebody else, it's not very clear how you do it, because at the top you can click pay nearby friends or send money globally, request and standing orders, and you have to click that thing at the bottom of the app, which is the new payment. And when you click that, you then go through the steps just like the same as with any other bank. You have to type in everything manually, etc., and it takes quite a while. So I don't really see a very good payment architecture in here, and together with the low adoption, it really doesn't work very well. Now the second problem I have is they've borrowed 2 features clearly from Monzo. They've even made them look and feel and name them exactly the same thing. The first of these features is their savings pots. Now what they've done is if you click savings, you can do 2 things. You can set up pots exactly the same as Monzo, so you can go and create a pot and you can name it after whatever it is that you want to save money for. Set a goal, make it £5. Yeah, my local pub is cheap. So I'm going to create this pot, and what I can then do is set up a recurring payment to send an amount of money to this thing. I can manually go and add and withdraw money from this. It's basically just dividing the money that's in your current account into separate groups, which I guess some people will like, but seems not particularly useful or necessary really. So I have these pots now, and I can quit it. And I can also do savings, and the savings looks somewhat similar to what Monzo do, except it's just completely outsourced. They're basically just getting a fee for referring you to somebody else. They're quite open about it, so you can see that it's with this company called Raisin and your savings are protected. But the problem is, in order to open the account, you have to go and tick this box and go through to a separate website, and the rates are pretty poor and pretty low. There's not much to really be had here. So in order to set up this account, you have to go and create a whole new account with Raisin, then transfer money from your Monese account to the Raisin account, but you get a sign-up bonus, and it says that it's up to £100. So I had a look at the actual details. You have to look quite hard to find exactly where it says what you get. So in order to qualify for a £10 bonus, you have to deposit between £5,000 and £9,999 into one of these savings accounts. To get the full 100, you have to put in more than £75,000 into your account. That's incredible. So they want you to part with £75,000 of your money to get a £100 bonus and get much lower rates than you can get in many other places. This seems like a really poor experience. They're basically just being an affiliate. They're marketing you somebody else's services. And although Monzo does market other providers as well, the integration here is much worse, and it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel anywhere near as good. The second bit that I wanted to talk to you about, other than savings, is the loans. So they allow you to borrow money. And you think this would be the easy bit. This is where they make their money, right? Because licensing for lending is a lot easier than the banking license that they also don't have. The truth is they don't have the lending license either, and if you go and try to borrow money, they tell you it's a quick application, no impact on your credit score, see your chance of approval, there's some small font here, and you can click get started. Except, unlike the savings bit, they are being incredibly unfair in not really telling you that the borrowing doesn't happen through Monese. If you click read more, you can see what actually happens is they pass your details to a third party called Monzo. And that third party is basically just a comparison website. And what that comparison website will do is they will just process your details against a load of different potential lenders and then show you the offers from those lenders. Now it says on this page quite clearly that your details are going to get sent to Monzo, but if you look at the previous one, it doesn't say any of that. It tells you absolutely nothing about sending your details to a third party. It just tells you that Monese Finance Limited is an appointed representative of some other random company name, which nobody will read because it's in the small font. That doesn't seem right. If I hit get started, I then need to go and type in a bunch of details that I've already given to Monese. Basically, they're just, again, passing it to somebody else. If you do go and get a loan with that person, they get their kickback, which, you know, might be big, it might be small, I don't know. But this is very underhand. They're basically trying to force you to go and use this third-party service. And if you try to quit it after you found out that they're actually not doing the lending, they're just passing you on to somebody else, they even pop up with a little message saying, do you want to leave the loan application? And you have to click leave. I mean, they're trying to stop you from leaving because they're so close to getting their cut. This seems underhand. So basically, the two big features here are the savings and the credit are both just passing you on to somebody else, absolutely nothing to do with them. They don't help you in any way to get those things. They're just trying to get a little cut for passing you along. That's not great. That really is not great. What else does this thing do? So we just found out that you can't really save with them, you can't borrow money, you can make payments from the card, you can add money to the account, and that process is somewhat straightforward, although it's not as easy as it could be. There's no pre-saved options, you can't take a picture of the card, there's no way of making it a bit faster and easier like with some of the other providers. So one of the other options is invite friends, and invite friends is just basically them trying to get you to do their marketing for them to try to attract more people. You can get a statement, and this is pretty clunky. You have to go and select what you want, PDF. Let's say I want PDF statement. And then there's it generates me something, but I think it could be slightly slicker without you having to generate it and export. Just tell me which statements I want and then how I want them exported without all these steps in the middle. So basically the only thing you can do with this is you can open an account that comes with a card, you can deposit money in it, and then you can make payments out of it. And if you want any of the premium features, then you're gonna have to pay extra. So let's go very quickly through the different options you have when you're first making the application. There are 3 different cards you can get. You can get white, you can get blue, and you can get dark blue, or simple, classic, and premium as they call them. There's actually no real difference between them. The simple is free. The classic is £5.95 a month, and the premium is £14.95 a month. They have exactly the same set of features except for 2 things where the pricing actually is different, and that is using your card abroad or withdrawing cash. Now for withdrawing cash, the simple card, which is the free one, allows you to withdraw up to £200 a month for free, and you'll have to pay a 2% fee for any cash withdrawals above that. The middle one, the classic option, the one that I have, will allow me to withdraw up to £900 a month for free, and I'll have to pay a 2% fee after that. The premium card that you're paying £15 a month for allows you to withdraw unlimited amounts of cash per month from your account. Now, I don't know about you, I hardly ever withdraw cash. There's some specific reasons sometimes why you need it, but unless you're some kind of drug dealer, what are you doing withdrawing thousands of pounds of cash every single month? Because unless you're doing that, these things are just not worth it. In fact, if you have the free card, you can withdraw £200 a month for free, and then you can withdraw another £750 at the 2% fee before you paying the £15 that the premium card costs you every single month. So you have to withdraw quite a lot of money every single month in order for it to make any sense to get the premium account. The other big difference is in using your card for purchases abroad. Now it works in exactly the same thing as the cash withdrawals, except for they've added a 0 to the end of all the numbers. So the basic simple white card, the one that's free, you can use up to £2,000 worth of foreign purchases a month for free. After that, you have to pay the 2% fee on top. For the £5.95 classic card, that number is £9,000 a month. And for the premium one, there is no limit, so you can go and spend as much cash abroad as you like every single month. Now, given that most people, when they travel, things like travel, car hire, accommodation, all of those things are usually paid for in advance, you have to spend quite a large amount of money before you break the £2,000 barrier, and even then you're paying 2% after that, which is not that much. So let's do a bit of math to try to figure out whether it's worth paying for the premium card if you're traveling and you're spending a lot of money. Let's say you go on holiday twice a year. If you're having the basic account, you pay nothing for that account for the entire period. If you have the premium card, you're paying £15 a month. So over a 6-month period, you'll spend £90. So let's just do a bit of math. So this means on each of your 2 holidays a year, you can withdraw £4,500 plus the £2,000 that you get free. So that's £6,500 before you break even on paying the monthly fee every single month for the privilege. I mean, who is this premium card designed for? Now, one feature that Monese has that is similar to some of the other providers, in particular is trying to compete with Revolut, is the ability to send money abroad. And what that does is the white card, the one that's free, that allows you to send money abroad using a 2% fee for the privilege. Now, to be fair, the exchange rate on this is really, really good. I've actually just gone and checked, and the exchange rate is what you can get with the best providers out there. That is the official exchange rate for the day. It's great, but you're having to pay the 2% fee if you have the basic card. If you have the middle of the road, the 595 card, you can go and do that for 0.5%, exactly the same, but there is a £2 minimum fee. So that means that you have to go and transfer at least £400 before the fee goes above £2. So anything below that, you're actually paying considerably more. So if you go and say transfer £100, you're still paying a 2% fee in effect. So they're trying to stop people from sending low amounts, or more likely just profiteer of people not being smart enough to understand how exactly that fee works. For the premium account, you can go and transfer whatever money you like for free, but again, you would have to do a huge amount of this every single month before it becomes worthwhile. Now, I wonder who this could be designed for. Perhaps it is for people who live in the UK or maybe another European country, and their family and the people they want to send money to live in some other country, for example in Eastern Europe maybe, and they want to go and send money home every single month. Could that be the case? Well, we don't know, but something tells me that is exactly what they're going for. I don't know what it is, but something is telling me that that might be what they're trying to do. The card is very easy to set up with both Android Pay and Apple Pay. You go through the app, you have to click a few things and you're in. It takes very little time. It's relatively straightforward, so that works just as it should. So I wanted to go and try to make a purchase with the money that was left in the account after the fee came out. So I went and made a purchase online, and I decided to buy a record on Amazon. Now, when I went to actually make the purchase and enter my payment details, what it did ask is it gave me the option, just like many of the best retailers out there, of instead having to type in the entire number, I could take a picture of the card. The only problem is that all of these take a horizontal picture, and no matter what I did, it wouldn't register the numbers on the back of the card because they are printed in a different way in a much smaller font, and they're printed vertically. Now, I tried doing it as a vertical snapshot again, it just wouldn't recognize the numbers, it wouldn't recognize that as a card, so I had to go and type in the whole thing manually, which I guess it's cool that it's vertical, but is it actually useful? Does it actually make it worse for the fact that with all the different online payment systems which use regular credit cards where things are printed horizontally, you can't actually use one of these? There's a few other options that you can see. If you click through on the menu on the left hand side of the app, you can go and scroll around, and there's other options like you can add your PayPal account. You can also add your Avios, and what that means is you can go and look at things like your Avios, like transactions and things within the app, and it will tell you some places where you can buy stuff and get Avios in return, but it's nothing to do with the Monese app. Monese app itself doesn't give you Avios. It doesn't make sure that you can get Avios in places where you otherwise couldn't. It's just a way of integrating something where there's literally no benefit, there's no point to it. You're just linking two completely unrelated accounts so that you can view one from the other, but there's just no point. The two are completely separate. I don't really get it. I don't get why you would want to ever do that. I mean, like, they're extra features, I guess, but features that give you absolutely nothing in return, that don't improve your life in any way whatsoever. You can just waste like 5 minutes of your time linking the two accounts, but if you want to use your Avios, you still have to go back to the Avios app. If you want to look at how much different flights are, you still have to go back to the app. Like, this doesn't give you anything. Now we've got to the best bit, which is the bit where we actually get to go and give it the Moneyfox score. So first, let's talk about the application. Now there are 3 things that we score every time that we look at the application. They're the application speed, simplicity, and the onboarding process. Now for speed, I have given this thing a 6 out of 10. And the reason is it was okay, but there was a few things where it's just objectively slower than the other challenger banks and certainly some other regular application processes out there. So the address system was poor. You couldn't just type in the postcode, say, and get the full address. There wasn't some automated system which could use the app's functionality to be able to determine where you're. It literally was really poor. The automated thing that tried to guess where it was horrific. It didn't even guess the right street, and there was no way of changing it or moving it around or anything like that. For the simplicity, I've given it an 8. Now, it is incredibly simple. It actually doesn't ask questions that like a proper bank with a proper banking license would ask, which makes it simple, but the things that I mentioned earlier in terms of the simplicity let it down. So the fact that I had to type in the entire address, again, that's not very simple. So I didn't like the fact that those things fell apart the moment I tried to use them. For onboarding, I gave it a 4 out of 10. Now this sounds extremely harsh, but let's talk about the onboarding process. So once I actually applied, I then had to wait 3 working days and actually, a full 5 days before the card arrived, which is a lot longer than the other leading players. So Starling and Monzo will do it the next day, and other people generally do it quite quick. Even some of the more traditional banks will probably not take a full 3 days for the card to arrive. In the time before the card arrived, there was nothing I could do with the account. So the app would completely block me out. There was nothing I could do. When I went and logged in online on the computer, I could go and access the bit which would potentially open up my virtual card, but because the app and the phone kept thinking that I was not in the location that I was actually in, I couldn't do that either. So there's nothing you can do for that period of time. You've paid the fee, but for the 5 days before your card arrives, there's nothing you can do. And then you have to go and authorize the card and do all of that. That's the first time when you can actually begin using it. The onboarding process is pretty poor. That's why it scores a 4, and that gives it a total of just 18 out of 30 for the application process. Now let's talk about using the card. In terms of just making regular payments for things that you buy, making transactions, it is very easy. There is no problem whatsoever with that. The transactions didn't fail. I didn't have to go through any kind of fraud stuff. So I'll give it a solid 9 out of 10 for that. I mean, why not a 10? There's a few things that just let it down. Like for example, the fact that I couldn't go and scan it when I was making the Amazon purchase. And I know that's a slightly different part of the review, but those types of things really do make an impact. The fact that I couldn't use it for the first few days after application, again, quite frustrating if you're wanting to use the card immediately after you applied. So that's probably why it didn't get to the full 10. Now let's talk about actually paying money into the account. Now the online systems are pretty good. So the online systems for either making payments with your debit card or doing a transfer work pretty well. They're very fast, so I'm kind of happy with that. Problems arise when you're talking about some of the other types of payments that you might want to make. So if you have to deposit cash, let's say you got given some cash as a Christmas present by your auntie or whatever it is, you just happen to come across some cash and you want to put it into your account. Your 2 options are to find a pay point location or to go to the post office. You have to pay steep fees in order to be able to do that, which I don't fundamentally agree with. You're depositing money into the system and they're charging you fees for the privilege. That doesn't feel right. Now I know that they're an online entity, they don't have branches or cash machines or other types of thing like that, but that's not your problem as a consumer. That's a bad experience. Now last is checks, and they fundamentally don't accept checks at all. There is no way that you can deposit checks. You can't take a photo like with some of the other people. You can't use somebody else's branches like with some other people. You can't go and use the post office or anything like that. You just can't deposit checks. And the problem with this is if they're trying to become the platform of choice for people to put their salary in, to use as their main account, to close other accounts and to use this as their effective current account, you can't do that. What if you get a tax rebate from the HMRC sent to you by check? There are situations in life, even today, where sometimes you might get a check. Maybe once a year, you'll have to go and cash in a check. And if that's your only account, you cannot cash it. There's nothing you can do with it. You have to go and find a different account and put it in that instead. Now for that reason, for the cash reason as well, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Maybe it's generous, maybe it's harsh, I don't know. I think it's a 6 out of 10 for that. For the app and online account, I've given it a 6 out of 10. Now, it would have been a bit lower because although the app looks relatively pretty, there's a lot of different features. Most of the options that you see within the account are trying to sell you something. They're either trying to sell you a loan by somebody else, they're trying to sell you a savings platform by somebody else. They're trying to link pointless things like PayPal and Avios, which are completely pointless. So it's pretty, but it's not very functional. It doesn't really add to the experience or enhance the features of the current account in any particular way. And some things are really buried. So if you're looking for help or if you're looking for other things within the app, they're quite difficult to find. You have to go and click through to the questions section and then pick a topic and then scroll right to the bottom, and only then can you go and select the help, and then you can pick a chat or an email option or whatever it is. I don't like that. I don't like that within the design. They're trying to hide things that are fundamentally useful and important to people because they don't want to spend money on having people answer those queries. Now, the fact that there is a website you can log into is great. Some other app-only or online banks choose to not do the website part at all, which really frustrates me. I don't really get why you wouldn't do it for the people who prefer to use a website for whatever reason. And you know, if you want to get a statement, if you want to be able to download transactions, a computer is a much better way of doing that than doing it on your phone. But anyway, that's why we're not going below. That's why we're sticking to a 6 out of 10 for that. So altogether, for using the card, making payments, transactions, all of that kind of stuff, Monese gets a solid 21 out of 30. Now let's come to the last bit. This section has a maximum of 40 points. We're going to talk about the experience with the card, customer support, the kind of features that it has versus just what you would expect versus its competitors. Let's dive right in and talk about the customer support, the customer service bit to start with. It is horrific. It is appalling. Number one, it is hidden. It is hidden in other providers as well. So like with the Monzo, for example, you have to go and click through to go and try to find it. But here it is hidden a little bit further. You have to first find where the actual help bit is. It's not very straightforward. Once you've done that, you then have to pick a section. If at that point you're trying to find where the chat or the whatever option is, it's not there. And only then, as I mentioned, can you actually go and find the support options. Now you have 3 support options, and the 3 support options are chat, email, or phone. Now let's talk about the phone option first. They don't actually print the phone number anywhere. You have to click on the button and only then will they tell you what the number is and you can dial it. But if you're looking at this option out of hours, they just grayed out and you can't even find the number. So let's say you want to make that phone call the next day. You can't just go and write this number down. You have to go back into the app the next morning. You have to follow the whole journey, then go and click on the thing, and only then will you be able to actually ring the number. There's no option for them to ring you or anything like that that some of the other providers do give you. So this is quite annoying. This is quite frustrating. I think it's unnecessary. You can just print the number under that with the hours that it's open. You don't have to make it that much more difficult for people. On the chat and the email, it kind of sounds great. It says, we will get back to you as soon as possible. We will answer any question you might have within a few minutes, maybe a few hours, whatever it is. But I went and tried it out. Let's get the phone. So I went on the app and I sent them a chat message. And the chat message I sent them said this: what is the exchange rate that you use when I pay in foreign currency? Is it a MasterCard one? Do you add anything on top? This should be a very straightforward answer from a customer service representative. But then they first asked me which language did I want to converse in, and there's 13 options. I chose English. Now, in answer to this question, I got an automated robot which said, "Hi, I am Monese Automated Support. Happy to assist you. Smiley face. How may I help you today?" And they say, "Please know that as an extra layer of security, all cards need to be verified by MasterCard 3D Secure program or verified by Visa in case of Visa cards." I mean, they should probably know which one I have because they've like given it to me, but anyway. Then there's a whole bunch of stuff that is completely nothing to do with the question I asked. It says, "Was this helpful? 1 yes, 2 no." I said no. So then they said, "Great. Your issue has been forwarded to our support team. Our chat support working hours are 8 AM to 5 PM Monday to Friday and 10 AM to 4 PM on a Saturday. Your issue will be looked into as soon as possible." Now this is a question that should have like a 10-second answer from somebody who knows what they're doing, or maybe it will take them a whole 30 seconds to go and look it up first and then type out the answer. But I asked this question almost 24 hours ago on a weekday, and I still haven't got absolutely anything back. I mean, if you had a more serious question or a more pressing issue with your card, is this how long they're going to respond to everything? 3 out of 10 for support. That's probably being generous. Product features, I've given it a mighty 4 out of 10. Now, they might strongly disagree with this. They might say we have all these different features on our account, but I would argue none of them are features. The only features that the account genuinely has are this. You can open an account which sends you a card. You can then deposit money into this card, and you know, those features are nice, they work quite well. You can then make payments using the money that you've just deposited. But you just deposited money from a current account, because that's pretty much the only way that you can do it, which probably has a debit card. So you could have done all of that using your current account anyway. I don't really see how you're making anything better by moving it to a different account with a different color card and using that card instead. Now, the only feature that this account offers other than these ones is the ability to split your money into some kind of pots. So you can go name these pots into different things. I mean, if that works for you, fine, I'm happy with that. It's similar to Monzo. It's not actually quite as functional or efficient or well thought out as Monzo, but it's loosely modeled on it. The savings thing is not a feature because you're trying to sell somebody else's saving products. The lending thing is not a feature because you're trying to sell somebody else's lending, just push the customer out. You're not even making an attempt to make it easy. There's no integration. You don't do it through your own app. I wouldn't mind if somebody else was doing the underwriting, as long as you made the journey seamless and straightforward. But no, you just, hey, hit this button, go over there, do everything away from us, and we'll get paid if they decide to lend to you. I mean, that seems extremely lazy. On design, I've given it a 6 out of 10. Now that might be slightly generous, but I've already scored it down for some of the features that are sort of design related in other parts, so I thought I wouldn't be too harsh. I mean, the card looks nice, it's very pretty, the plastic is good, it's better than some of the other stuff that I've seen, but it's pointless. Now the vertical card is nice, but doesn't make any sense to have the design being vertical if it actually actively limits the functionality of the card and prevents you from doing basic stuff like being able to take a photo when you're making payments, which is becoming quite a commonplace thing when buying things online. When you're looking at the app and the website, they look alright, they look relatively pleasing to the eye, but functionally they're just not that well thought out. They're trying to hide things, which I don't like personally, and that's why the design score is just a 6 out of 10. Now let's talk about how the card and the product compares to some of its competition, and this is a bit different because you're trying to assess what is this trying to win against. And we're talking about the Revoluts, we're talking about the Monzos, we're talking about the Starling banks. Now although the feature set I've already scored not very well when you compare it to current accounts and general banks, because that's ultimately the sphere in which this product exists, when you look at the competition that is directly competing against, they share in some of the frustrations that I had with this card. So they share issues with being able to pay cash and checks in, they share some of the issues with limiting the support available and making it difficult to access it. I don't like some of the other features that I didn't like with this card with some of the others, like for example the pots and all of that. I get that they're nice sounding, it's a good idea in theory, but I just think it's a very clumsy implementation. You have to do so much typing and moving money around and setting them up and managing them on an ongoing basis. I don't actually think it makes life easier. I think if anything it makes it a bit more complicated. So I get that they're trying to copy Monzo in doing it, but I don't really see a big advantage. Now, although the feature set overall is not great, because of those limitations by the other banks, I've given it a 5 out of 10. So after all that, the experience score adds up to an 18 out of 40. And that means that the total Moneyfox score for the Monese card is 57 out of 100. When you think about the fact that Monzo scored 74, there's a lot of ground to be made up still. When I was talking about the features and some of the way that it compares against the competition, I didn't expressly mention it because I'd be talking about it every single time, but the fact that they're not a bank, the fact that they don't have a banking license, the fact that your money is not protected, those things are quite important, and the fact that they don't have them has played down some of these scores, and it's probably partially responsible for why the overall score is so low. If you guys found this useful, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. I've got a bunch of other reviews coming out. I have loads of other videos all about personal finance, all about the way you can borrow money, invest money, manage your money, all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in those types of videos, they come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on my channel. Every now and then, I'm gonna have a big documentary style video coming out in my On the Money series, so look out for them. I've got a couple in production at the moment that take quite a long time to actually piece together, a lot more work than these regular videos that you are seeing now. If you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you could just hit that like button, just smash it. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you go and hit it right now. It is amazing for the YouTube algorithm. For a small young channel like mine, it gets this video shown to more people. The more times you hit that like button, the more this video gets shown to other people, and the more people can go and find out exactly how good or bad products are and exactly what they should do with their money. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys later.